It's 6:04. I'm calling this meeting to order of the Village of License Board of Trustees for October 12, 2022. And let's do the pledge of allegiance. To the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Stuart?
Yeah.
Winifred's here. Sam?
Here.
Annie's out. And Yasmin is running late. So I think you all show this. You discussed the time as our treasurer.
You want to vote on now?
Right. Hold it away from her.
Hold it away from her, so you can hear me now. I hear an echo.
That's better.
The echo is good.
No, it's better the further away the mic is.
All right, so I'll try this.
That's good.
Let me know if you can't hear. I have several announcements. I just wanted to acknowledge the passage of Roxanne Mowat, who was a longtime resident here in the village of Fleischman's and the partner of John Granito, living here on Main Street. It's a sad moment. She made many contributions to the village, and she and John had improved a number of properties here. So we send her our condolences. So the pedestrian bridge is now formally open after 11 years since the flood. And with that opening, I wanted to give some thank yous, particularly to Fleischman's First, who organized the ceremony around the opening of the bridge and worked with bringing refreshments provided by Village East, Aging Flavor, the Fleischmann Supermarket, and Sam's Country Store. Did I get them all, Michelle? Is that correct?
The supermarket you
Yes.
mentioned and Breezy Hill.
And Breezy Hill. Okay. And so that made it a very nice event. And I also wanted to acknowledge to the property owners adjacent to the bridge, thanking them for their patience during this long construction period and the disruption to their properties. So I think that moment is past and we can begin to enjoy that section of Wagner Avenue. As you may know, Lake Street is now paved from, I'm sorry, Lake Street from Main up to the village limits is now paved. And it's been a long time coming, but I wanted to kind of acknowledge some of the special work that went along with that. We had to coordinate the work of several contractors, and Corky was really in the lead on doing that, working with Tweedy, who was doing the retrofit, and with Cobble Skillstone, who was doing the paving. And to coordinate their schedules as well as ours was challenging. In doing this work, we were able to repurpose the millings for 3/5 of the distance of Lake Street. We needed to remove the top approximately 6 inches and replace it with new binding and a new foundation. And in doing so, we got many tons of grindings, which we were able to redeploy to support the parking lot here at the corner, Wagner and Main, and other areas in the village. Ordinarily, the Cobble Skillstone charges us to cart it away, and we were able to get Corky was able to get this organized in a way that we could accomplish all of these, repurpose it and getting all the people in place And also, this is another circumstance of intermunicipal agreements and how well they work. John Byrock, who is the Middletown Department of Public Works, he's our main guy. And so he really worked with Corky to facilitate the ditching around the paving. He brought between 4 and 6 trucks to help with this carting and to do the rolling of these areas. So while it may seem like a simple prospect of hiring somebody to do a piece of work, there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes. And if you see Corky, I would give him a shout out of the work that he put in to make this happen. So those are the thank yous for. I think those are all my announcements. Moving on, we have the September 12th Village Board minutes. And can we have a motion to approve the minutes from September 12th?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes for September 12th.
And a second?
I can't hold it.
Oh, I second. So how do we do this if you weren't here so that we don't have a, we don't? So we have 2 people who can vote on this. So we may have to just postpone this because we don't have 3 people. We don't have 3 people to vote on this particular resolution.
We could do the one for the 28th.
Yeah, the 28th. Okay, so we have to still approve these. September 28th minutes
Make a motion
to approve.
those minutes. 28th.
Second.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. At the September 12th meeting, preceding the meeting, we had a public hearing, which we had left open and did not close the public hearing at that time because we wanted to allow for additional comments to come from the public with regard to that topic. So now I would like to close that hearing formally. So can I have a motion to close the public hearing that opened on September 12th at 6:05?
I make a motion to close that hearing.
Close the hearing. Wait a second.
Doesn't matter. But it's registered.
Okay. Okay. Moving on. We have reports from the wastewater treatment plant and the water department. Can I have a motion to approve? Oh, so we have those reports that have come in, the code enforcement monthly reports and the financial report for August 31, 2022. I have one comment on the water reports. In this year, we've had a state mandated and federally mandated expansion of the testing of water as a result of a nationwide presence of more minerals, more toxic minerals in the produced that have entered the water table in many places around the country. It hasn't specifically affected us as far as testing of our water. However, we are obligated to do this expanded testing, which is expensive and cannot easily be absorbed in the water department. So we are signing on to a lawsuit that is initiated by the New York State and the federal Rural Water Management Association. So we're signing on to a lawsuit that could potentially provide funding from the polluters to support municipalities throughout the country for their expanded requirements for water testing. So there is no issue with regard to our water, the testing of our water. However, we want to recover some of our costs. So that's what's cooking. So on the, do you have any comments on the water or wastewater reports?
No.
Okay. Can I have a motion to accept all three of these reports?
Motion to accept all three of the reports.
Right, okay, do we have a second? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. So Peg Ellsworth was invited to present today and on the Restore program and on other funding opportunities we have for incentivizing commercial development and housing rehab here in the village. So since she's not here, I'm going to hold that spot in case she comes a little bit later. Next, we have a presentation of the scenic byway. This is a collaboration among the municipalities along Route 28, which provides for development of destination planning around the scenic byway along Route 28. So I'd like to introduce John to make this presentation. John made the presentation to the leader, not the leaders group, but to
the Central Catskills Collaborative, which is the joint entity that basically has been working on the byway on behalf of the 6 municipalities. I'll give you a really short refresher on the byway, since not everyone was here for all those meetings all those years ago. Back in around 2008, 6 municipalities got together and decided that a number of goals could be achieved by working together. One of them would be the creation of a scenic byway along Route 28. The municipalities were the town of Olive, the town of Shandaken, the town of Middletown, the town of Andes, and Middletown's 2 incorporated villages, Fleischman's and Margaretville. At the time, Hurley was also considering joining the byway, but ended up not following through at that point. So basically, these 6 municipalities started work back then on a number of projects, but the main one we focused on was creating a scenic byway, and it's a long process. We finally got designation by New York State. It went through the legislature in 2015. A byway has a number of benefits. It's calling attention to the road and to the area that it passes through. And because of that, hopefully it's going to bring more tourists and more tourist dollars to the area. That's one of the primary focuses, but also just to highlight the assets of these, of the communities along the byway. The Central Catskills Chamber of Commerce has been sort of our lead agency, sort of running most of the meetings and handling a lot of the funding and such. And so great shout out to Carol O'Byrne and Glenn. So basically what happens is when you're designated by the state, you have to periodically renew. You have to review what you have on file as your byway assets and why you deserve to be a byway and update it. So that's the process we're in right now. So I prepared for Fleischman's. I've been the Fleischman's rep since I think 2009, might have been late 2008. Harriet was the first rep, and then when she was no longer able to do it, I was asked to take over, and I've been doing it since then. So basically updating Fleischman's assets that we contribute to the scenic byway. You can find online in the New York State Department of Transportation website, or also I think on the byway's own website, our corridor management plan. That's basically this huge document we had to submit as part of our application, saying how we were going to, what the assets on the byway were and how it would be managed. So that's what we're working on updating now. So I gave a presentation a few weeks ago at the collaborative meeting that was held at the train station in Arkville, and I'm going to go over most of it here for you. If you have any questions about the byway, I'll try to answer. I specifically would suggest any businesses who want to learn more about the byway and be listed on the byway's website should contact Carol or Glenn. I have their emails. New York State very specifically does not want individual businesses listed in our corridor management plan, so that I'm not going to be highlighting individuals. But on the byway's website, we have a lengthy list of businesses and their amenities and attractions. So by all means, we'd love to feature you on the website, but that's not part of this process, the corridor management plan. So I started out with a few tweaks on what's the existing text regarding some history inflation, specifically regarding baseball. There was a few things that weren't clear. For example, Wagner Avenue really wasn't named after Honus Wagner. That appears in a number of sources, but it was named after the first family who built a house on the newly laid out street. It was before Honus ever played ball there on that field. Or he was supposed to have played there, but there's still some question as to whether he really did or not. One of the other things we suggested in the corridor management plan that exists now, it specifies names of other teams. And because there's been some flux with that, we suggested making a more general reference to, other area teams rather than anything specific. And at the heart of the recreation of the Mountain Athletic Club was local enthusiasts. The way the text reads now, it almost sounds like the village did it itself, and it was really the enthusiasts who did it. The village was happy to support, but credit has to be given to the players and the folks who did it themselves. With reference to the swimming pool, we're happy to report that it is again open to the public after several years. In regard to the section covering the damage from Hurricane Irene in 2011, it should be noted that 2 of the bridges wrecked in that disaster have been rebuilt as pedestrian-only bridges. The one up Lake Street connecting Switzerland Avenue and Lake Street, the other on Bridge Street connecting Wagner Avenue and Main. These 2 new bridges ensure that walkability, always one of Fleischman's great assets, enjoyed by visitors for well over 100 years, can be maintained. A number of village-owned parcels are now functioning as pocket parks and provide places to stop and rest or picnic while walking around the village. Some allow great views of and access to the streams. I also, in the presentation, highlighted the continuing incredible impact in such a positive way of our community group, Fleischman's First. The annual street fair draws many visitors, and other events such as community forums help connect the community. Fleischman's First has continually helped promote the recreated Mountain Athletic Club. Fundraising assistance for the library and community beautification projects helps improve life in Fleischman's for both residents and those who come to visit. The group publishes the Fleischman's Flyer every other month. It is mailed to all residents of the Fleischmann zip code and is also available online. It highlights upcoming events, reports on village issues, and features a look at local history in each issue. Then I went into a little detail. The existing corridor management plan highlights a number of the village assets, and there were a few things. For example, the museum is mentioned in passing, and I felt that it should be given its own highlight, considering we've been here for 45 years trying to preserve and present the village history. So I sort of wanted a bigger plug for the museum. A little selfish on my part, but anyway. Another new asset is the welcome kiosk at the east entrance to the village. The attractive panels provide an introduction to local history and culture. When the original work was done to create the scenic byway, Fleischman's had one property on the historic register. We now have 5. The one property was the building we're in now, Steen Library. Since then, we have added Congregation B'nai Israel, the Mountain Athletic Club grounds at Fleischman's Park, the Max Built Theater, and the Max and Johanna Fleischman House, which of course is now Spillian. There is now a 2-station EV charger in the village behind the gazebo. Mention should be made of the accessible to all children's park, children's playground. The village has recently witnessed the opening of a number of new art, food, and performance venues. We also address possible goals as we move forward. And one possibility would be if the rail ride can return to coming this way as well, creating something at the existing building, which is actually the original depot from the 1870s. There was a later station built that's now gone, but the building that still stands there was our first station, and it could possibly be used for retail or other tourist-related purposes, but that would sort of be contingent on the rail ride. And we note that other communities, Phoenicia and Andes, have fixed up their depots and do very well by them. So that would be sort of a model of something we could follow. And another goal would be the possible creation of some type of river walk. So that was basically the presentation I made. I just highlighted a couple of things, the article about the bridge, the article about the pool, just to try to present what was new in Fleischman's and needed updating as the collaborative works on updating the corridor management plan for the byway. I'll be happy to give out emails or website addresses or things like that, anybody who has questions.
So, am I right that there's 2 components to accessing the byway program, and that is, one is audio and the other is online website?
That's a good point. I didn't go into detail there. There's certainly the website. There is also an audio tour that you can basically play as you're driving the byway. I know it was available on CD. I think you can also download it. I am real bad with technology. I'm not the one to ask much about that. But yes, there is an audio byway tour plus all the information on the website, which of course can be printed out. And there are, there are a lot of corners on the website where suggested itineraries. If you're a rail buff, here's where to look for railroad history. If you're looking for this, here's where to look. So definitely that, and that website is sceniccatskills.org.
Good presentation.
I can't emphasize enough how important this bigger picture is of how Fleischman's fits into the scenic byway, because we are sort of we're in the middle of the route of the scenic byway. And in the past, there's been funding available to the scenic byway to promote activities in each of the communities. And at this point, there isn't money centrally to do that. But it's a platform around which a lot can be seen and used to promote the village of Fleischman's. So I really encourage everybody to look at sceniccatskills.org is that right?
Oh, is it?
Or-
.org. It is on the village website as well, and it's a very rich resource for information about activities and destinations. And it's something that can help us in our marketing plans as we move forward with that. And yes, Michael.
Yeah, it's just to say that the byway is scheduled to go all the way up to Grand Gorge.
That's one of the things we're working on, as well as updating the existing community information. We're looking at adding West Hurley, so the town of Hurley, and continuing up Route 30 to Roxbury and Grand Gorge.
Yep.
So that's in the planning stages to add those.
And I thought I was told there was like maybe long range goals of connecting that eventually to the one up in Lexington.
Right, because they're also extending out of Hunter.
Yeah,
And the idea, it will be, we already meet in one place on Route 214 between Chichester and Lanesville. It would be great if there were other places that the two byways met.
Thank you. Moving on, we don't have a public spaces report. Jasmine is not here. But you might have observed that that plantings have been made in the village park to replace trees that were taken down. So we have 3 new emerging small sugar maple trees in the village park. And in 50 years, Elby has told us what to be at today. On the fundraising front, a proposal has been submitted to DEC for additional funding for our EV charging stations by the depot. So that's another effort that we've invested in. As we worked with the MARC project on building out our fundraising proposal and in talking with others in the community about fundraising, it became clear that many of the proposals needed a positioning statement from the Village of Fleischmann's. And so I took some time to draft a vision statement that would be used not as a policy statement, but it's an outgrowth and expansion of the vision statement in our comprehensive plan. So let me just read this. You've seen it in the package. The Fleischmann's vision is to revitalize and incentivize economic development, enhance village assets, and enhance the quality of life in this historic village in its bucolic rural landscape. The Village of Fleischmann's government influences economic development in its policies and ongoing efforts to develop anchor properties in the village, including the theater, cultural institutions, and businesses on Main Street. It works to enhance the experience of a walkable village through the development of walking trails, access to water courses, enhancement and connectivity of our numerous public spaces, and expansion of recreational opportunities available to the public, many of which we've been discussing in prior meetings. We also foster a vibrant business community that supports our diverse residential and visitor populations. We foster a business district with complementary and coordinated retail and commercial services. We enhance cultural institutions and services that enrich our personal lives. And we foster attention to our historical and architectural identity. So this is kind of a vision statement that's going to be a positioning piece as we work to build our fundraising resources to fund and incentivize housing rehab institutions here in the village. This is the first time that you'll have seen this, and is there any comments that you wish to make? Any concerns, additions? Yeah.
No.
Yeah. So we will be using this or portions of this statement in our fundraising efforts going forward. Okay. I just want to announce that as part of this initial Restore program, we've been reaching out to many members of the community, and we could raise the interest and capacity to write and develop fundraising proposals through organizations that we work with here in the village and individuals who have specific interests. So I'm really pleased to say that as a result of the steering committee for the village theater and other initiatives here, there's a growing capacity for the village to work together, members of the village to work together to build a fundraising capacity for us to build a higher platform for our economic development. So moving on. We are in a position now to adopt a budget for the fire department for the calendar year 2023. So this is something we do every year at this time, and it reflects the fact that we, as a village, have a village-owned fire department. And to support this village-owned fire department, we have worked with Middletown and the town of Holcott to support our fire department. In fact, we have a budget of $140,000 a year to spend on the fire department, half of which is used to fund reserves for the purpose of replacing fire trucks. We have 7 vehicles in the fire department, and the major ones are, each of them are approximately $500,000 each, and they have 20-year lives. So that's why we fund reserves ahead to allow us to purchase at a suitable time. And we are looking to replace what we call the rescue truck in calendar 2023, which is likely to be a $500,000 purchase and is the most highly used vehicle in the fire department. So the fire department is supported of this $140,000 spending plan. We have 57% of that is paid for through a contract with Middletown, Middletown Fire District number 1. 28% is paid for by the town of Holcott and 15% by the village of Fleischman. So we provide extensive services in this region out of our small village. And of course, the volunteer fire department. In this upcoming year, we are anticipating spending more money on training for the volunteer fire department firefighters. So if you've had a chance to look at it, we need to adopt this budget so that it can be negotiated with the town of Holcott and Middletown for their agreement and participation in the funding of this plan. So the village board needs to adopt the fire department budget, which we will be negotiating with these 2 other entities. Any questions about this plan? It's pretty similar to the plans we've had in prior years. There's nothing significantly different. And it's a very small increase, given the fact that we haven't increased it in more than 4 years, so. I have a motion to approve the fire department budget for calendar year 2023.
I make a motion.
Okay. Sam, motion, do I have a second?
I second.
And Stuart, second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No. Carries. Next item is the status of the property, the anticipated property demolition at Bridge Street, the former Harriet Grossman property. So we understand from the Catskill Watershed Corporation, who is administering the contract, that they have awarded the contract, and it's quite possible that it will be demolished this fall. And we have been working with several members of Fleischman's First, Ann Hirsch and Yvonne Reuter, to help shape a landscape plan for that property once the building has been removed. So kudos to them. And they've identified a good number of plants and shrubs on the property that we're going to try to salvage in anticipation of this demolition. So that's ongoing work to provide a good landscape plan for that property beside the bridge. I think, is there anything else that's to come
No.
before, any other topics you want to bring up for the board meeting?
The sign up by exit of Bel Air is up. We requested that in February and it's installed and ready for the ski season. It says Fleischman's with an arrow to the left.
Nice.
So yeah, that is great.
It's up.
Great. Kudos. Yeah,
Good job, Stuart.
yeah. Stuart's been working on this since February. So we now have a sign at the base of Bel Air after interest in having that done for a good number of years.
And it's right there by 28, so people can make a decision before they stop.
Nice. Okay, so now we move to the public comment portion of the meeting. Yes.
Can I just say one thing? I'm honestly not sure if the website I told you is a .com or a .org. Try the one, and if it's not the one, try the other. It's definitely Scenic Cat Skills, but I won't swear whether it's .com or .org.
I'll just add it up.
Thank you, John.
Yes.
Regarding the incentive for economic development, I recall a couple months ago, there was a zoning committee to upgrade the zoning rules. And the committee of the Board of Trustees vetoed it. And I'm wondering, first of all, some of the board members are missing. And two recently voted in one. And secondly, how can you have economic incentives for economic development when you want to stick with the old zoning law? I don't understand why they didn't pass that. So could the board explain that?
Well,
Stuart, maybe could explain it? People who
Thank
voted
you for your
against
comment.
Yeah.
What?
Thank you for your comment.
Well, I like your comment. You know, you were elected supposedly to make this town a better place, and you've got no comment on the zoning. Sam, you have no comment on the zoning?
I have no comment, Gloria.
Why did
Why don't
you,
we just why don't we just focus on what's happening, on what, everything that we're making, instead of concentrate on the past?
Well,
You keep bringing things from the past, and what about the present?
this is.
What about the pool? What about Lake Street? What about the things that have been done that for years haven't been done? What about those things?
What about more things that could?
What about more things? We don't work full-time. You gotta understand, we donate our time.
So
and we
did
do a lot of
the people
work.
that were on that zoning committee, they put a lot of effort into that, and you just like dashed it, and they're not even at the meeting because they're so oppressed.
We take this into consideration, Gloria. There's been no movement to have additional meetings of the zoning committee meeting, the zoning meeting. We will consider what next steps we can take.
Okay, it's not, I'm not blaming you as the mayor.
The village board will consider what next steps we can take to advance the economic development through zoning, parking, and other issues that affect economic development.
So I hope we will revisit that. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Gloria.
What comments?
I have a question.
Yes.
The former Johnson Ford Motor corner, Wagner and Main, which you referenced before. When I drove past it today at 5 o'clock, it was, I'd say, 2/3 covered. Is the plan to cover it completely?
No, no,
So what has been done is now
it's done.
is done. And I'm assuming that that's that the, it's a, what's it called?
Permeable.
Permeable
Yes.
surface.
Yes, this, just to revisit that, that parking lot, July, a year ago, July, we approached the county for permission to use it as a parking lot to supplement the parking on Main Street. And they were amenable, and they confirmed the design and its intended use. And at that time, they indicated no overnight parking, they indicated impervious surface, and they indicated the portion of it that should be established for the parking, and that is the area that we laid out the buildings from the Lake Street. So that what is now what appears to be blacktop is the parking area, and the other areas are subject to development for other amenities.
So there will be signage that says that it is only available for parking from such and such time to whatever.
That's the plan.
Okay, I also want to thank you, Stuart, for having that crosswalk placed across from the Breezy Hill and Main Street area, because at the last board meeting, I had commented that people were not stopping at the stop sign, but and that's now been taken care of with that addition.
The stop line.
Yeah, the stop line.
Yeah.
And so it's much safer now.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Gloria.
And
You're
it's a
welcome.
.com,
Yeah.
okay.
Right, I'm a civil engineer, I work with my hands. I started in Depot Street, and I started cleaning the sidewalks on Wagner Avenue from Depot Street to the pedestrian bridge. Each day I picked a different property, and I was doing the cleaning. If anyone wants to join me, they can join me. I've exposed all of the bluestone sidewalks in the village on Wagner Avenue. I will continue to Main Street. So if anyone wants to clean up their own sidewalk, or if there's grass that's covering the bluestone, it should be cut back and exposed. so we can see the bluestone that was put down. The other thing, John, on the highway, Route 28, there's a historic scenario. They built the drainage ditch with, and they lined it with bluestone slab. That also has been covered with grass, and you can't see it. So there's beautiful bluestone slabs that start on one end of the village and take us all the way to the other end, between Route 28 and the railroad. So I don't spoke to the state about exposing that. That's not something that they're gonna work on. They'll cut some of the trees, but they don't mind if we do. So that would be an attraction for the byway. People would be able to see it as they drive by. They'd be able to see bluestone for quite a ways.
This is on Route 28. Is it a walkway?
It's owned by the state of New York.
Yeah, but it's a path along the highway? Or is it?
It's a trapeze soil shaped drainage ditch.
Drainage.
Oh, it's a drainage ditch. Oh,
Right, if this is the shape,
yeah, okay.
carries water along the roadway.
Uh,
Prevents water from coming in 28.
Interesting. So,
And so there's huge slabs that they had put, total holes in to pull the slabs. So if you go and look at the slab, you'll see 4 holes in it. How they were able to drag it.
and so we have, this is one of many kind of volunteer projects that we have to assist with beautifying the village. Another opportunity that John mentioned is to work with the businesses that are currently open in the village of Fleischman's to get them onto the scenic byway and to get their contact information onto the village site. So that's, if someone wishes to step up to help with that, that would be another volunteer opportunity. Okay. Lots to do. Are there other public comments? Yes, John.
I just want to say that, now that this new parking lot has been established, it seems to me that a further argument in favor of this revised parking regulation was put forth by the zoning committee. So I would just encourage the board to revisit that and reconsider. It seems to me like a lot of sense. We've got the physical infrastructure now to accommodate that change. So again, I'd encourage you to reconsider that.
Other comments?
Where is the new vision statement that you read available to the public? Is it on the Fleischman's website?
No, it's not. We can do that as part of the revision of the village website narrative. We can determine a suitable place for it.
Is how is the progress on the website? I know that you had undertaken some editorial work.
Yeah, it's been stalled. I have yet to confirm with Michael Keeley the work that she had done for the editorial pieces of the narrative, and that's on my plate to bring forward. So it's.
Yeah, I asked you, I wrote you an email, but I'll ask you now, just because it's a topic of conversation. Is that vision statement available to be published in the Fleischman's Flyer as a new statement coming from the village?
I don't see why not. We may want to have it looked at editorially for its structure and statement.
Well, I'm happy to do that. So if you send it to me, I'll look at it with that eye and share it maybe with Michael as well. And then I'd like to put it into the next issue. I think it would give a real sense of community connectedness, as we call it. And what we talk about, what we're hoping for the future.
Thank you, Michelle.
So when is the next issue?
Oh, I don't know. Probably, it's the November, December issue. It'll probably be out before Thanksgiving.
And when is it, when will you?
I don't know. I'll send you all an email. When I get back from Italy.
I have a question for Michelle. Is there ever gonna be another walking tour?
You know, I was thinking about that when Stuart was talking about the Bluestone. So some of you may know that for about 5 years in a row, Fleischman's first organized walking tours of the village. They were done on Columbus Day weekend. Many of those properties that we highlighted have changed hands. One in particular is not in very good shape. I don't know, it's an interesting idea, I guess it's something that we'll talk about, it's a lot of work. But we had hundreds of visitors. It was really good publicity, and we now have so much more vibrancy on Main Street.
We have the bridge back.
And we have the bridge back. All right, I guess I could be convinced to discuss it further.
Yes.
I just wanted to bring up quick, since it was mentioned about the Fleischman's Railroad Depot, putting on my Delaware and Ulster train hat. We had spoken a while back, Winifred, about getting together over there to look at how close proximity everything is between the railroad property, the crossing, that culvert, which is problematic, the trestle, everything that's over there is very, very hemmed in tight together. And so I think we should sooner than later, and just for the rest of the board to be aware that any development we would try to do over there would really hinge on resolving that whole access issue, you know, the safety of it and I guess permanent, infrastructure that will go in before anything else could be developed. Beside, so we should work on getting together on that and trying to get it analyzed by an engineer or whoever needs to look at it to move forward.
Yes, Michelle.
I have one other thing I want to raise, and that is the pool opening celebration, which we did not have. And I raise it because one of our big funders has indicated that he would like to be present for it. If we're going to do it, we should do it right, is I guess what I'm saying, and that takes planning. So somebody on the board is responsible for events, is that not right?
Jasmine is public spaces. We don't have specifically a person for events, but as they take place in public spaces. Is it on? So are you seeking a contact person to on the board to advance this plan? Yes.
Yes, or to settle on dates.
Yeah.
And if you are renewing your request of Fleischman's First to organize that event, we're gonna need some support.
So Sam, why don't we talk about this, and we'll talk about this to see and get back.
Some of the plans that we have for the bridge opening might be moved to that.
Stuart, you have something else?
Yeah, I'd like to report, there were 3 village properties that were visited over this last month. I visited with Jim Buchanan, and I wrote up, we inspected the property, and I wrote up a report for each property with my recommendations for repairs and.
Oh, you're talking about village properties.
Village properties, and one of the properties in particular was the town pool, and I requested that they go up on the roof of the pool and they clean all the branches that have been accumulating for, I don't know, quite a while. But the gutters were completely filled up on the roof.
Which
and,
roof? Because there are
the
two
roof
roofs.
of the pool house.
Where the pump is.
Compound.
Pump house. by
Yeah,
the-
because
by
that
the-
was done, the amenities building, that roof was cleared and the gutters were cleared,
Just now, what was?
last fall.
Oh, okay.
The amenities,
The bathrooms and the changing.
Oh,
of
okay,
bathrooms.
this is the
This is
main
the other
pump,
building.
the bigger pump room. So I told them off with ladders, and they did a bang up job, and the roof looks really nice. So I want to thank
Courtney and Sean,
Red,
Sean.
Sean and Courtney
Sean Court. Thank you, Stuart.
for that. So and those other two properties I'll speak about another time.
Thank you. If there are no further public comments, can I have a motion to audit the vouchers?
Motion.
Motion,
I second that.
all those in favor, yes,
Yes.
okay,
Aye.
and a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Motion to adjourn the meeting. I second.
Yeah, we've circulated for the benefit of the board, the bills over $1,000 that require,
I have it.
so you have a list, any questions or concerns?
No. I don't want.
Okay, thank you very much. Meeting is adjourned at 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock.